जय यशोदानन्दना जय व्रजजनरञ्जना जय यमुनातीरवनचारी जय कुञ्जविहारी जय यमुनातीरवनचारी जय कुञ्जविहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा श्रील प्रभुपदा गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय पंचतत्व जय तत्व जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व घर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल घर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय हरे कृष्णा we start with the Mangalacharan okay
yeah please Mataji. Yes
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे नाम चिंतामणि कृष्ण चैतन्य रस विग्रह पूर्णशुद्धो नित्यमुक्तो अभिन्नत्वां नाम नामिनो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्ति भवती नैष्टिकी सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मतस्मृतिज्ञानमापोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविद् एव चाहम् Srila Sanatana Goswami glorifying Shrimad Bhagavatam. Sarvashastravipiयुष सर्ववेदैकसत्फला सर्वसिद्धान्तरत्नाद्य सर्वलोकैकदिक्प्रदा सर्वभागवता प्राणा श्रीमद्भागवता प्रभो कलिद्वन्द्वोदित्य श्रीकृष्णा परिवर्तिता परमानन्दपाठाय प्रेमवर्षि अक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोऽस्तु मे मदेकबन्धु मत्सङ्गिन् मद्गुरु मन्महादन मन्निष्ठारक मद्भाग्य मदानन्द नमोऽस्तु ते असाधु साधु तादायिन्नति नीचोचताकर हानमुञ्चा कदाचिन्मां प्रेम्नहृत्कण्ठयो स्फुरा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दं माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वर हरि ओम तत्सत् हरे कृष्णा So today we are doing the 26th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, okay, where we are going to understand the fundamentals of material nature. So we saw in the earlier verses that how Devahuti, Mother Devahuti had asked few questions, right, from Kapila Dev, her son. She asked him to explain to her about how to dispel the illusion. And in answer to that, Kapila Dev told about Adhyatmic Yoga, where he included Sankhya, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. After explaining all this, he explained about the superiority of Bhakti Yoga, how Bhakti Yoga is simple and it can be done by everyone, and what are the characteristics of a devotee who does Bhakti Yoga. Then she asked him, how is that Bhakti Yoga to be done so that one can attain the Supreme Lord very easily. So she said in an answer, Kapila Dev says that do Bhakti Yoga with Bhava Bhakti. Right? But then if you are not able, that do Bhakti Yoga with emotion. If you are not able to do that, practice, follow the rules and regulation. That is the Vaidihi Sadhana Bhakti. Follow the rules and regulations, and gradually you will attain the platform of Bhava Bhakti. Further, she asks about the process of jnana. In that, Sankhya Yoga, characteristics of Prakriti, Purusha, elements, Karya Shrishti, Virata Rupa, Jiva in conditioned state and attaining liberation. So we are in this chapter, and today I will be speaking about the Mahatattva and the false ego. So then this chapter, it starts by asking, why should we understand? What is the reason? What are the benefits of knowing the Sankhya Yoga, where it is telling about the characteristics of the material elements, the matter, distinguish between matter and soul. So it is understood that we should know why in a second chapter, third chapter, everywhere there is the mention of creation. And we feel that it is so technical and so complicated, right? But it is very important. It is said that it has, even Kapila Dev again, he's speaking about again the material elements. So it is said that we should understand that, because by understanding it, it will help us to free from the mold. It is a knowledge, right, which is helping us to advance towards the spirituality. We can identify, we can discriminate between the thing which is good and bad, and it will help us to transcend these three modes, which is very important. That is what we are going to understand today through the verses, how important it is to be in Shuddha Sattva. What is this Shuddha Sattva? So here it is said that we should understand different elements so that we can free ourselves from the mode. We can attain perfection and the knot of attachment. Unless we have the knowledge, we will be attached to whatever things we do. Mam mameti, right? This is my child, this is my job, this is my wealth, this is my property. So we have to transcend all that. So to understand that, we should understand the temporary nature of those material elements. So that is the significance. Further in this chapter, it talks about the interaction between Purusha, Prakriti, and Jiva. Like how Jiva is a part and parcel of this Purusha, how the Purusha is controlling the Prakriti, and how Prakriti interacts, its influence on Jiva. Right. So here it is said that how Jiva, it understands, it identifies itself with the body, and then it forgets its real constitutional position, and thus it comes in this vicious cycle of birth and death. Further, it's later on, again Devahuti asks, describe more about the characteristics of Prakriti and Purusha. Right. So then it understands that, it explains about what is Pradhana. Right. So what is Pradhana?
Hare Krishna Mataji, unmanifested modes Mataji, three gunas.
I cannot hear.
Hare Krishna Mataji, unmanifested modes Mataji, three gunas, material nature.
Yeah, it is unmanifested. It is avyakta, but it is eternal, right? And it is it is it is the aggregate of the three mode, and that is the cause of the prakriti. It consists of cause and effect, and it is undifferentiated. You can this Gauranga Darshan Prabhu has very well explained to giving a differentiation between understanding it with respect to a seed. The seed, it has the potency to, for example, the banyan tree. The banyan tree seed is so small, but that seed has the potency for to develop into that big tree, but it has not manifested. So the pradhana, it has the potency for creation, but it has not manifested. And then later on, we see how that pradhana get manifested into Mahatattva. What are the characteristics of Mahatattva, and how it is compared to the Shuddha state of our how we have to transcend and reach the Shuddha Sattva state for our realization. And then later on in the verses from 11 to 14, it talks about the 24 elements, the 5 gross elements, the tanmatras, the 10 senses, and the antakarna, the subtle elements. Okay. So then it spoke about time in 15 to 18 verses, right? How time, because of time, it changes, right? From a small child to adolescence, then a young man, then to old age, and then gradually. So how time, this is with respect to human, but even then, the other living entities, everything degrades with time. So it speaks about how time, it is the it instigates fear, right? As we advance towards the old age, that fear comes of death. Then it says that it is because of this time factor that that is agitation. Because of this agitation is the creation of various elements, and how Lord exists eternally, internally as Paramatma, and externally as time. That also we have understood. So now today we will talk about the 21st verse. So I will cover from 21st to 25th verse. Yeah. So it's visible, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Okay. So the 21st verse, it says that Yat sattva gunam swacham shantam bhagavata padam yatahur vasudevakyam chittam tat mahat atmakam. Shobha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Danda Pranam Mataji, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yat tat sattva gunam swacham shantam bhagavatam padam yat ahur vasudevakyam chittam tanmahat atmana atmakam. Should I read the translation, Mataji? Translation
This
proper
also,
to Srila
Mataji.
Prabhupada.
Haribol. We'll do one by one, Mataji.
Haribol.
Yes. Yeah. Somebody else can also take up the verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams
Hare Krishna.
Mataji. Yattat sattva gunam swacham shantam bhagavata padam yadahur vasudevakyam chittam tanmahadatmakam. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Translation.
Yes, Mataji, may I?
Yeah.
The mode of goodness, which is the clear, sober status of understanding the personality of Godhead, and which is generally called Vasudeva or consciousness, becomes manifest in the Mahat Tattva.
Yeah. So the mode of goodness, which is clear, sober status of understanding the personality of God, and which is generally called Vasudev or consciousness, becomes manifest in Mahatattva. So we see that in the Mahatattva, what manifests is the consciousness, the Chitta factor, right? That is called as Vasudev. So this is what the verse says. We will read the 22nd verse also, and this 21st and 22nd together we can do. Can somebody read this verse?
Shall I,
Hare
Mataji?
Krishna.
Yes,
Hare
yes,
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji.
Text 22. Swachhatvam avikaratvam shantatvam iti chetasah vritibhir lakshanam proktam yatapam prakrite para. Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranam.
Translation.
Shall I,
Hare
Mataji?
Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Sudha Mataji will read, and then next
Hare
Prashanti
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji. Pranam. Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. After the manifestation of the Mahat Tattva, these features appear simultaneously. As water in its natural state, before coming in contact with earth, is clear, sweet, and unruffled, so the characteristic traits of pure consciousness are complete serenity, clarity, and freedom from distraction. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here we see that in this verse, it says that Yattat Sattva Gunam Swacham. Sattva Gun, we all of us know that it is the mode of goodness. But here it speaks about Sattva Gun Swacham, that is the purified Sattva Gun. So let us understand through the purport. So here Prabhupada has written that the Vasudev manifestation or the understanding or the status of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called as pure goodness or the Shuddha Sattva. Right? It is said that we have to Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. We have to transcend these three modes of nature: the mode of goodness, the passion, and the ignorance. Even mode of goodness is not good because there is an ego of that being good, right? So it is said that we have to transcend that. Only when you transcend that state, then it is called as the pure goodness. And that stage, which it is compared, that is Mahatattva. It is the pure state. So it is said that in Shuddha Sattva status, there is no infringement of the other qualities, namely passion and ignorance. In the Vedic literature, there is mention of Lord's expansion as the four personalities of Godhead: Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Here, in the reappearance of Mahatattva, the four expansions of the Godhead occur. Who is he who is seated within us? The Supersoul expands first as Vasudev. So we understood that Pradhana is there, right? Which we said it is as a seed, which has the potency, but it has not manifested its potency. Now this seed, correct, when it comes up, when you sow the seed, we see that it grows, the radical part and the shoot, the root and the shoot comes out, right? And with small leaves. So we understand that that seedling, it is so tender, isn't it? And it is so tender and it is so pure when you compare it with that gradually growing up into a tree. Suppose a banyan, okay, that seed, it develops into its root and its shoot. Okay, and then later on, when it develops into a tree, the tree is so huge. The barks of the tree is so rough. And then we see that there are so many insects and other things. It is covered with dust because it is there for years together and it is covered with dust. So when in comparison with this two, we see that the seedling is so pure and tender. So that is the stage of, that is how the comparison given, that is the stage of Mahatattva. It is very pure, right, and very tender. So what, and it is here, it is said that we know that the pradhana is there, and then it is said nothing, everything is a dead material unless and until the energy of the Lord activates it. So we see how the Lord, the super soul of the creation, right? There are three super souls. Who are the three super souls?
Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan.
Anybody else? The super soul, who is the super soul within every living entity? Each then of the universe, then of the creation. Yes, all the three Purusha avatars, right? So this, yes, Mataji, loudly you can say it. It is correct.
Mahavishnu.
Then
Vishnu
yeah, yes, he is the super soul of the universe, of individual universe. And then within that universe of all the living entity is a Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So, yeah, so it is said that this super soul, it expands. It first expands. We know that four quadruple. What are the four quadruple?
Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarshana,
Vasudeva.
Vasudeva.
Yes. So the first expansion, the Vasudev, right? This first expansion, that is what it is said that here after the reappearance, that means there is annihilation. When there is annihilation, there is complete darkness, right? And by the God's will, when he wants to create this material world, so he glances. The Lord, the super soul, it expands. It expands the Vasudev, aspect, right? The aspect of the Lord, it enters into the Mahatattva. That is why Mahatattva is also called, when it enters, there is effulgence. It is very bright. Therefore, it is called as Hiranya. In the earlier verses also we said. So this Mahatattva is also called as Hiranya. This Vasudeva aspect of the Lord, it enters. And that is very pure. And that is, and when in that stage, it is said that if you remember our Shikshashtagam, right? What it is said that Cheto Darpana Marjanam. So that pure stage is like that mirror. That mirror that reflects. So when you are in that pure stage, it will reflect you will realize the Supreme Lord. You will realize your Swarupa. What is your constitutional position? So with respect to the material world, when we say that, it is you have to transcend the mode of ignorance, goodness, passion, and then come to the pure state, Shuddha Sattva. Then only you can realize the God. That is what it is a Cheto Darpana. You clean it. So how will you clean that Darpan? What the first stanza of Shishtashtakam, if somebody can
Chanting.
recite?
Chanting, Mataji.
Chanting.
Chanting Hare
Somebody
Krishna
recite.
Maha.
Can somebody recite?
Cheto darpana marjanam lava
Krishna
mahadavadanam
Sankirtanam.
kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavatu jivanam anandam
Anandam
pratipadam purnamrita swaganam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna
Krishna
Sankirtanam.
Yeah. So this process was given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that this darpan, you have to come to that level, then only. So you have to clean it. All these three gunas which we are entangled in, we have to clean it by the Sankirtan, right? By chanting and hearing of the glories of the Lord. So this Mahatattva, this element, this material element, with respect to us, how it is present within us, it is present within us as consciousness, chitta. Therefore, that chitta has to be like the darpan that will reflect. That is the pure stage. That is this is the material element represented as the byproduct. We have to say it as consciousness, chitta, and that is present with us within us material body as consciousness. So this Vasudev state, it is said that this stage is where we are free from material, all the material desires. And Bhagavad Gita, it explains that this stage is described as Advaita. So they say that why it is called as Advaita is that because when we are in this state of Shuddha Sattva, even though we are in this material world, which is full of passion and ignorance, we are our activities are such that it very easily we come under the clutches of Maya. We say, this samsara, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura in the Mangala Charan, which we say, right? We say the Guru Ashtakam, it says that samsara dhava nalalida. It is like a forest fire, this material world, right? Where there is no need of problems. It is just like how now nobody ignites a forest fire, right? It happens on its own by friction. Similarly, in this material world, which is Dukhalema Shashvatam, there is always miseries, and we are under the influence of those miseries. Okay, so it says that Shubhara Prabhu, it is 21st verse of 26th chapter of 3rd canto. So it says that it is also, it says that even this chitta, pure consciousness is so adbhuta that even we are being in this material world, but if you come to that state of pure consciousness, we can realize the Supreme Lord. We can understand our position. So that consciousness, that pure consciousness is called as Krishna consciousness. Therefore, from our Srila Prabhupada, he always talked that we have to be Krishna consciousness, because only by becoming Krishna consciousness that we can realize. That is the understanding. So here is said, because this consciousness, that being Krishna consciousness, doing all the activities for Krishna, then only we can free ourselves from the various gunas, the material, passion, and ignorance. Maybe somebody can read from this verse, from this line, the Vasudev stages.
Shanti Mataji, you can read.
Yes, Mataji. The Vasudeva stage is free from infringement by material desires and is the status in which one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the objective which is described in the Bhagavad Gita as Adbhuta. This is another feature of Maha Tattva. The Vasudeva expansion is also called Krishna consciousness, but it is free from all the tinges of material passion and ignorance. This clear state of understanding helps one to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Vasudeva status is also explained in Bhagavad Gita as Kshetrajna, which refers to the knower of the field of activities as well as the superknower. The living being who has occupied a particular type of body knows that body, but the superknower, Vasudeva, knows not only a particular type of body, but also the field of activities in all the different varieties of bodies. In order to be situated in clear consciousness or Krishna consciousness, one must worship Vasudeva. Vasudeva is Krishna alone. When Krishna or Vishnu is alone without the accompaniment of his internal energy, he is Vasudeva. When he is accompanied by his internal potency, he is called Dvarkadesha. To have clear consciousness or Krishna consciousness, one has to worship Vasudeva. It is also explained in Bhagavad Gita that after many, many births, one surrenders to Vasudeva. Such a great soul is very rare. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Pranams.
So here we see that stage, right, where we understand the Supreme Lord. That stage is also, that consciousness is called Krishna consciousness, right? And that stage it is also called as Kshetrajna. That means we get the knowledge, we understand the knowledge, right, above the supremacy of the Lord. And then here further Prabhupada takes the liberty of making us understand that there are two other persons are also called Kshetrajna. Who are those? Who are the Kshetrajnas?
The soul and the super soul.
Yeah, the soul and the super soul, they are the Kshetrajna. So the difference between them is the soul will know only about its body, and whereas the super soul, he knows about what is going on within each and every living entity, because he is present as Paramatma in each and every living entity. So when you reach that stage of Shuddha Sattva, or the pure consciousness, that is the Krishna consciousness, it is called a Kshetrajna also, because you have realized that your constitutional position is to serve the Lord and not lord over him, right? He is the supreme Lord. But then our consciousness is contaminated. We are in these three modes, right? But Krishna says that whatever bhakti you want, mukti you want, siddha you want, kami you want, whatever you want, all this leads to, what does it leads to? What is that verse? Bhukti, mukti,
Siddhi kami.
Saddhi kami, sakala
Sakali Ashanta.
ashanta. And what is shanta?
More Bhakta man. Bhakta is Shanta.
Krishna.
Krishna
Bhakta.
Bhakta Nishkama
Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ateva Shanta. So what is the formula for peace that is given in Bhagavad Gita? Shanta. And what is that formula for peace that is given in Bhagavad Gita?
Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasa Sarvalok Maheshwar. Suhridam
Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasa Sarval Suhurdam Sarva Bhutanam Jnatva Shanti Prachiti. Yeah, so we everybody needs. Yeah, everybody needs peace, no? Mujhe shanti chahiye, everybody says. So that shanti you will get only by doing, understanding that it is the Supreme, Krishna is the Supreme Lord and we are his servant. So that is why it is said that Yattat Sattva Gunam Swacham. When you are in that mode of goodness, which is Swacham, that is pure, Shuddha Sattva, Shantam Bhagavata Padam, you will achieve Shantam. Yadahur Vasudevakyam. And who is the presiding deity of that pure consciousness? Who is the presiding deity?
Vasudeva.
That is, yeah. So, and so here it is said that, but Prabhupada later on is just explaining, that is why it is said that, which is this verse? It is explained in Bhagavad Gita that after many, many births, one surrenders to Vasudeva.
Bahunam
Janmanam Ante.
Yeah, Bahunam Janmanam Ante.
Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate.
Vasudevam Sarvamiti Samahatma.
So one who realizes that Mahatma Vasudeva is pure is very, very few. So to understand that, so how important it is to for us to transcend three modes and achieve the Shuddha Sattva. but it is not impossible also. It is said, and that the solution is also given, that you can do it. You just do Sankirtan and hear the glories of the Lord. And here it is said that Vasudeva is the presiding deity, and then when you do deity worship, it is said that it is done along with the internal potency of the Lord. So are we eligible to do Radha Krishna deity worship?
No, Mataji.
No, Mataji. No.
It requires a lot of awe and reverence, right? So what did Srila Prabhupada tell us?
We can keep Gaura Nitai Mataji.
Or Nitya
Yeah, it is Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahi Anya. So we have been given for the deity worship also, even that has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada to do the deity worship. We invite God Nitai to our house. So before that, we have to take the shelter of the Guru, and then we have to invite them and do deity worship. So all this help us to transcend the three modes of material nature. Okay, this next verse, the paragraph. Somebody can read. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you much. In order to get release from the false ego, one has to worship Shankarshana. Shankarshana is also worshipped through Lord Shiva. The snakes which cover the body of Lord Shiva are representations of Sankarshana, and Lord Shiva is always absorbed in meditation upon Sankarshana. One who is actually a worshipper of Lord Shiva as a devotee of Sankarshana can be released from false material ego. If one wants to get free from mental disturbances, one has to worship Aniruddha. For this purpose, worship of the moon planet is also recommended in the Vedic literature. Similarly, to be fixed in one's intelligence, one has to worship Pradyumna, who is reached through the worship of Brahma. These matters are explained in Vedic literature. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we see that how initially the Lord expands into Vasudev, which is the Shuddha Sattva, correct? And then later on, with time, the time factor, it later on expands into Sankarshana. And from Sankarshana, what comes? The
Aniruddha.
That is the expansions. See, what releases? The false ego.
False and material.
Yeah, ahankara, right? So it is said that Sankarshana is also worshipped through Lord Shiva. So, but with what understanding? If you want to overcome this false ego, it is said that you should worship Lord Shiva. But how you should worship Lord Shiva? It is said that Lord Shiva also has that Naga, right? What is that? That is the representation of Sankarshana. And we always see that Lord Shiva is meditating. Whom he is meditating? He is meditating on the Sankarshana, the expansion of the Supreme Lord. So when we want to overcome this false ego, it is not that the Lord Shiva we are worshipping. We are worshipping Lord Shiva as the devotee of Lord Sankarshana. When we worship Lord Shiva in that mode, it will help us to overcome the false ego. Then we see that how the false ego, further it is divided into three modes. The mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and mode of ignorance, correct? And in that mode of goodness, what comes out is the mind. And the presiding deity of mind is Aniruddha, right? Yeah. And that is why, and how do we worship him? Through moon planet. And then further is the mode of goodness. From mode of goodness comes intelligence, right? We see that the mode of goodness comes intelligence, and then we have all the working senses and the knowledge acquiring senses comes up. And then later on in the mode of ignorance comes all the tanmatras and the gross elements. This is how the 24 elements are created. So it is said that through the intelligence, how do we worship and the predominating deity is Pradyumna, and how do we reach is through the worship of Brahma. So this is what it is. Prabhupada has just given an explanation, but here main focus is the Shuddha Sattva, that how from how Mahatattva manifests, and the presiding deity is Vasudeva, and it is given a comparison that how pure it is, and its byproduct is that consciousness, given a comparison with the Shuddha state, that even being in the material world, you can achieve that Shuddha state by transcendenting the three modes of material nature. And that is where, in that stage, you can realize the Supreme Lord. And for that, you have to do Sankirtan movement. You have to hear the glories of the Lord. And here again in this verse, that Shuddha state, it is how it is described is that it exists. Can somebody read this purport?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah.
The pure status of consciousness or Krishna consciousness exists in the beginning, just after creation. Consciousness is not polluted. The more one becomes materially contaminated, however, the more consciousness becomes obscure. In pure consciousness, one can perceive a slight reflection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As in clear, unagitated water, free from impurities, one can see everything clearly. So, in pure consciousness or Krishna consciousness, one can see things as they are. One can see the reflection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and one can see his own existence as well. This state of consciousness is very pleasing, transparent, and sober. In the beginning,
Yeah.
consciousness is pure. Hare Krishna.
Pure. Yeah, this is what it, and how it is pure, it is given as a compare that it is not agitated. Like when the water is very clear and pure, you can see everything down. Such is the stage of pure sattva. So it is said that is why it is said, that this consciousness is there within us. Krishna consciousness is there. That's what Prabhupada wanted to give us this message. It is there within us. Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says that Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema is there within. It is eternally present in them. Sadhya Kabonai. There is no need from externally to get that prema. You have to just endeavor to clean the dirt that has been accumulated and the gunas which you are in. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Kare Udaya. By doing Shravanam, hearing and chanting the holy name, you can ignite Udaya. You can ignite that pure consciousness. This is what it talks in this first 21st and the 22nd verse. Now further we see how from Mahatattva, the mode of ignorance, the ahankara comes in. Yeah. Somebody can take up this verse. Yes, Sharmila Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Mahattvad vikurvana bhagavad-virya sambhavat kriya shaktir ahankaras trividasam samapadyata vaikarikas taijasascha tamasascha yato bhavah manasaschendriyanam cha bhutanam mahatamapi. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The translation.
Can I read, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Anybody can.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The material ego springs up from the Mahatattva, which evolved from the Lord's own energy. The material ego is endowed predominantly with active power of three kinds: good, passionate, and ignorant. It is from these three types of material ego that the mind, the senses of perception, the organs of action, and the gross elements evolve. Thank you.
So this is what in the creation we see. I'll just show that picture so that here, see here, this is how the creation, right? These are the 24 elements that comes up from mind, intelligence, and ego, right? These are the subtle elements. These are the gross elements from mode of ignorance. And this we get, these elements, we get it from the mode of passion. And the mind, the passion, we get also the intelligence. And this mind, it arises from the mode of goodness. So here it says that yes, it is said that Mahatattvat Vikurvanad. This Mahatattva gets agitated. So who is agitating that Mahatattva is Bhagavad Virya Sambhavat. It is possible by Virya, that is the energy of the Lord. Which is that energy? The Kriya Shakti Ahankaras Trividas Sampadaya. By the Kriya Shakti, the Ahankara, it expands into three. That is the mode of goodness, mode of ignorance, and passion. That is Vaikarika, Tejascha, Tamascha, Yato Bhava. Manas Manas Inchendriyanam cha Bhutanam Mahattam api. Manas, mind, all the senses, that is the working and the knowledge acquiring senses arises, and then Bhutanam Mahatam, all the gross and the subtle elements arises. So that is what which is explained over to here, that how in the beginning that our consciousness was pure, right? Our consciousness is pure, but later on, what is that? The agitation comes up, which ahankara comes out, right? And this ahankara, the Prabhupada explains is that it is because of the marginal independence that we get. This is because of this marginal independence that we develop this with over a period of time. We develop this ahankara. Instead of surrendering onto the Lord, we try to lord over it because of the misuse of our this marginal independence. But because originally the Krishna consciousness is pure, but because we are misusing this marginal independence, we are forgetting Krishna. Right? So we see that how from Mahatattva comes out Ahankara, and from Ahankara comes the three modes, the three upadhis, Sattvika, Rajasika, and Tamas upadhi. But initially it is Swacham. It is Swacham, but because of our marginal independence, the misuse of this marginal independence, we are you want to be rich. You have the independence, you will work hard. Then you will find out various means how you can achieve a fair means and unfair means. You try to achieve that wealth because you want to become rich, right? And then ultimately what happens? You develop a criminal mentality and you end up in trouble. Same way, because we want to lord, we want to show that we are superior, and that has resulted in our downfall. So this is exhibited in the real life. It is so, Prabhupada says that it is like, we have this the spiritual path, a spiritual realization. He says that it is just like a sharp edge of razor. You are using that, for some activity, and immediately you turn your head here and there, you get cut. That is means our bhakti should be a haituki and a pratihata. There should be nothing that comes in our path that should deter our determination from this path of devotional service. If we get deterred, then there is a downfall. So for that, the importance of association. We should always associate with devotees. Whatever festival comes, like yesterday we had Panihatti Cheda Dehi. It was such a beautiful festival where the understanding what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called him Chor. Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, he is such a rich person. Why he called him Chor? Because he was trying to reach Mahaprabhu directly. But Prabhupada did not, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want that. He wanted it should be through a guru. So he directed him to Nityananda Prabhu. If Nityananda Prabhu is satisfied, he tells Radharani, and through Radharani we will get that pure love of God. So it should always through a guru who is always in the service of the Lord. It is only then which will help us, in our spiritual path. So it is said this path is just like a razor. We have to be very careful, and that carefulness and that understanding, we get only when we are under the shelter of a guru. So can somebody read this last paragraph?
Shall I, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Not only must one come to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness, but one must also be very careful. Any inattentiveness or carelessness may cause fall down. This fall down is due to false ego. From the status of pure consciousness, the false ego is born because of misuse of independence. We cannot argue about why false ego arises from pure consciousness. Factually, there is always a chance that this will happen, and therefore one has to be very careful. False ego is the basic principle for all material activities which are executed in the modes of material nature. As soon as one deviates from the pure Krishna consciousness, he increases his entanglement in material reaction. The entanglement of materialism is a material mind, and from this material mind, the senses and the material organs becomes manifest.
Manifest, yeah, right? This pure consciousness, in that stage, it is said that whatever senses we have, Rishikesha, Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate, all of our activities, all our senses, it is to be used in the service of the Lord. But what are we doing? We are using it because we are using it for our own purpose, sense gratification, which is very wrong. So here it said that, so how does a false ego, like when you fall sick, right? We we go and ask the doctor, what is the cause of my illness? Doctor will say it is a viral, it is bacterial, it is parasite. But then you say, how did I get that bacterial infection? We do not know, right? It with over a period of time, because of your various activities, you came in contact with some bacterial infection or a viral infection, which may be a droplet infection or an airborne infection. We do not know, but we do not. The doctor does not spend time finding out, but he knows that it is an infection and he gives medicine to cure the symptoms. Similarly, how the false ego came? Yes, over a period of time, right? There is agitation and the false ego has come up, and from the false ego the three modes have come, and the various material elements have come. So but then all these material elements, we have to understand that it has to be used in the service of the Lord, so that we go back to our original state, that is the state of Krishna consciousness. If we do not endeavor for that, it will result in entanglement. So, and then the last verse, can somebody read?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shirasam Saksha. Sahasrashirasham Saksha. Yam Anantam Prachakshate. Sankarsha Nakhyam Purusham. Bhutendriya Manomayam.
Can one more? Yes, Shubhara Prabhu, you can also read.
Shall I read the sloka, madam? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mata. Sahasrashirasham sakshat yam anantam prachakshate shankarshanakyam purusham bhutendriya manomayam. Hare Krishna, Mata.
Hare Krishna. Translation.
Gandharvika Mataji, you can read.
I will read, Mataji. Thank you, Hare Krishna. The threefold ahankara, the source of the gross elements, the senses and the mind, is identical with them because it is their cause. It is known by the name of Sankarshana, who is directly Lord Ananta with 1,000 heads. Thank you, Mataji.
In this translation, it gives us that all the source of the gross elements, the 24 elements which we see, which are in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So they are all from the origin is from the ahankara. So I remember initially when I had given on this topic, somebody had asked how that in ahankara, the mode of goodness, how can we understand that? Garan Darshan Prabhu has given a very good example, that helped me to understand. So I'm just conveying it to you. He said that there are a group of dacoits. So what is their activity? They are going to steal. So they are actually in the mode of this. Tamas, right? In the mode of ignorance, because the activity is in the mode. But in that also, when they steal, they by any means they steal, and the booty which they get, they are dividing it, and they are dividing it equally amongst all. Right? So this way you can understand that they are doing it in the mode of goodness, like that sharing and caring thing. So similarly, this creation, it is because of the ahankara, right? And that in that we see that some are in the mode of goodness. They are doing all the religious activities and things like that, all the rituals. Some are in the mode of passion. All of us mostly going to work, reaching our job on time, endeavoring to get promotions increments, right? And then in the mode of tamas, we do various activities. So these are the things how we, in this, though being in the ahankara, there are different modes. And this is what is, and that is in with our material life. But how the material elements are produced, it is according to the three modes. The mind is in the mode of goodness, intelligence is in the mode of passion, and then all the bhutas and the sense objects are in the mode of ignorance. So as I end this, 1 minute.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Mataji, please show that chart what you have mentioned now. That I will take the screenshot of that.
Okay. 1 minute, Prabhu.
Okay, ma'am. Hare Krishna.
So just I wanted to end up by whatever we did, just a summary. So we understand that Mahatattva, right? The sum total of cosmic intelligence are also called Hiranyamaya, consumes the darkness of delusion through the effulgence. Then here we talked about Sattva Gun, our Sattva Gun. This is the 21st verse, which says that Sattva Guna, it is clear. It is clear, sober, status of understanding the Lord. That is why it says that you have to be Krishna consciousness. That consciousness is called Krishna consciousness, which is called Vasudev or Chitta manifest in Mahatattva. Then presentation of Mahatattva in the body of the Jiva. How are we present? As consciousness. That is the Chitta factor. Completely serenity, Shantvam, clarity, Swacham, and freedom from distraction. That is our consciousness. But we get contaminated because of our Ahankara. Then the Mahatattva transforms into Ahankara. The three types, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And the presiding deity is Sankarshana. From next verse onwards, we can understand its characteristics. So this is all what we did today. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj Shrimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.
Jai Mataji. Hari Hari Bol. Very clear and nice explanations, Mataji. Thank you.
Yes,
Divya Mataji, you have a question?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah,
chart,
please
show the chart, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. I will show. Chart of the material elements.
Yes, Mataji,
Yes,
I think so.
yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Krishna.
Mataji, it is in Gauranga Darshan Prabhu's book, no? In that detail, everything about
Yes,
summary.
yes, Mataji. Subodhini.
Shubodhini, right? Okay. Mataji, I have one question, if you don't mind.
Yes,
Shall I ask?
Yes, Mataji.
Even though we are
Gandharvika
hearing...
Mataji, Hari Bol. Gandharvika Mataji. Divya Gopu
Gandharvika.
Mataji has raised her hand. So first she will ask and then after you can ask. Huh? Yeah,
Okay,
please.
okay, Mataji.
Please,
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, Divya Gopu Mataji.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, in text 21, you said, I mean, there is a mention that in order to free from mental disturbances, we have to worship the moon planet and Brahma for fixed intelligence. So, what should we understand by this, Mataji? Like, we are supposed to worship?
It is just given, Mataji. For us, it is only Sankirtana. For this age of Kali, it is only Sankirtan moment. This is in detail, Prabhupada is there. This is the presiding deity and what is the worship it is mentioned. But for us, no need to do all that. For us, it is only the Sankirtan.
Okay, Mataji.
That is recommended for this age of Kali. Prabhupada has given an understanding, though it is by giving a comparison, and then how it is and what comes out and what is the presiding deity, how to reach that presiding deity, what worship you should do, to give us a knowledge. It says, here even Devahuti is asking about the process of jnana, right? So Kapila Dev is also giving her all the knowledge. So once we have the comparison and we can discriminate, we can choose. So from that to give a comparison, to give us an understanding, knowledge, Prabhupada has given in his purport.
Okay. Yeah, got it, ma'am. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Gandhavika Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, very good explanation. It was very clear. Good understanding. Thank you, Mataji. One question is that even though we are practicing from many years Krishna conscious, so we all are in female body. So especially, so what I am thinking that it's becoming very difficult to practice Krishna conscious as we are getting old. So how can we understand, Mataji, like how much we have practiced Krishna conscious, how much we are pleased our spiritual master, being in this material body, especially in a female body. So how we can understand, because we have so many other problems also, no? Like family problem, health issues, like that. So how we will come to know, even though we are reading regularly Bhagavatam, hearing, chanting. So especially me, I'm not satisfied. So how can I understand?
First is that when we are doing spiritual activity, there is no female male. All are jivas.
Yeah.
That female is male, that comes in material platform. That is one thing which we have to understand. And then for the grihasthas, there is one verse in canto, 4th canto, which says that even though in गृहेष्व अवसितं चापि पुंसां कौशलकर्मणां मद्वार्तायतायामानां नाबन्धाय गृहमता. Those who are engaged in the auspicious activities in devotional service certainly understand that the ultimate enjoyer or the beneficiary of all activities is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, when one acts, he offers the results of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and passes his life always engaged in the topics of the Lord. Even though such a person may be participating in family life, he is not affected by the results of his action. So, as you said that we are a grahastha, we are doing. So it is in this verse, it is said that even though you are participating in this life, you have to practice yukta vairagya. That is, you are there in this material world, you are doing all your prescribed duty, but then you should engage continuously, keep on doing, because we do not know from a time immemorial, we have done various karmas, and it is a reaction of those karma that we are undergoing. So for that we have to engage ourselves in devotional service. And by doing devotional service, our understanding is that the Supreme Lord is the enjoyer. We are not the enjoyer. We are the servant. Our duty is to just serve him. You serve him and you spend all your time talking about the glories of the Lord, doing chanting and offer whatever results. So by doing such activities, you are not affected, and thus it will help you to transcend. So this is what, to the Prachetas, this advice was given in the 4th canto. When I read that, this verse was there for us for by hearting, memorization. So I said that, so that means whatever ashrama we are in, what is recommended is, don't think about why I'm not getting happiness we are a servant. Our duty is to serve. So the Lord will be pleased and he will give us the result.
Okay, Mataji.
Mataji, what is sloka reference, Mataji?
4.30.19.
Pardon, Mataji, once again,
4.30.19. 30th chapter, 19th verse.
Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji, in reference to this, I'll just share 1 minute, one small where I heard in a lecture. Our Yamuna Viharini Mataji, who wrote the recipes, no, Mataji. like when she is in Vrindavan, she became old, and one of the devotee, for the Janmashtami or something, she prepared bhoga and offered. So when she came to that Mataji, she told that I offered this much, you could not make anything. But she told I offered 108. So she was surprised and she told how. So I did in my mind. So when we are in old age, when our like the hands or anything, if they cannot move, but we can do with the manas. That is what we have to understand, Mataji. Yeah.
There is one devotee also, one Brahmana. He would do devotional service to such a great extent and with full faith and determination that once he wanted to offer kheer, but he did not have the
sufficient. He burnt his,
yeah.
Yes,
See that bhava, that is what, do devotional service with bhava, with emotion. That is what Kapila Muni is telling Devahuti.
Yes.
But then it is told, okay, if you can, we are not that purified to reach that stage. So you do Vaidihi Bhakti, Vaidihi Sadhana Bhakti.
Yes.
Do that and then slowly we'll. So don't think about the result. Do our duty.
Thank
Gradually
you,
it will come.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. No further questions? So we'll end the session here. Thank you, Mataji. Ribol.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice class. Hare Krishna.
Thank
you,
Anantakota Vaishnavadeti Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai,
Bhagavatam Granth ki Jai.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Mataji, pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna to everyone. We'll meet on Monday at 9:30. Hari Bol. Shall I end the session?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.